Hi, everyone, and welcome back to this week's live market update. I'm Carol Dewey, founder of Perpetual Wealth Financial. If you've been following along over the past few weeks, you know we've been tracking some of the biggest forces shaping the economy, from tariffs and interest rates to AI and the $7 trillion in cash waiting for a catalyst. Today, we're going to pull all of that together and focus on what's actually certain in an economy that's been dominated by talk of uncertainty. President Trump's economic plan has three big pillars: tax liberation, tech liberation, and energy liberation. And I'm going to show you why those three areas are not just political talking points. They're investable trends that could define the next wave of American prosperity. Plus, I'll highlight one stock I think is poised to profit from this shift, as AI's power demands and the energy independence agenda come together in a very big way. So let's get started. In the very first Sesame Street episode in November 1969, Kermit the Frog attempts to describe the letter W. A hungry cookie monster chomps away at the subject matter, forcing Kermit to change his prepared speech to talk about N, then V, as sections of the letter disappear. The segment proves so memorable that Sesame Street has continued to run some version of its letter of the day to the present. Fast forward to today, and the American economy is now being brought to you by the letter U. Indeed, uncertainty has become the fixation of media and Wall Street alike. 84% of the S&P 500 companies used the term uncertainty in their most recent earnings calls. Moody's used it as a reason for their recent downgrade of U.S. debt. In fact, this word has become so prevalent that the Federal Reserve's April 2025 Beige Book, it's a twice-a-quarter commentary on current economic conditions, used it 80 times without people really noticing. The April 2024 version mentioned it only 11 times. Now I want to acknowledge the word is useful in some cases, but the word uncertainty gives many the excuse to be a bit lazy. It lets the media create an invisible enemy to focus readership anger. It causes financial analysts and investors to throw up their hands and say nothing's for sure. It allows CEOs of S&P 500 companies to blame something else if their performance falls short. And it also hides some facts that are absolutely crystal clear to me. So today, let's review three items that are actually quite certain: what they have to do with President Trump's three-part economic plan, and why this plan matters to investors. And, of course, one stock investors can buy right now to profit off of the president's latest pro-business moves. Now, certainty number one is tax liberation. Recently, President Trump's big, beautiful bill, a sweeping legislative tax proposal, passed the House. Here are three key reforms it includes. First, permanent middle-class tax cuts. It lowers the individual income tax rate. For example, the 15% bracket is dropped to 12% and the 25% is lowered to 22%. There are also no taxes on tips or overtime, one of President Trump's campaign promises. The second thing it does is expand family and child benefits. The child tax credit is permanently set at $2,000 per child. It also includes new mega savings accounts with a $1,000 federal contribution for newborns. Then there's health and wellness savings expansion. Health savings accounts, HSAs, can be used on more than just doctor's visits and medications. Americans can apply them toward things like fitness memberships, direct primary care, and spousal flexibility. However, President Trump isn't stopping there. He also wants to use the revenues the U.S. makes from tariffs to cut income taxes for people making $150,000 or less. This would be the biggest change to the tax code since Trump's first term, when he passed the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. These tax changes would be a huge boost for the middle class and economy. According to the House Ways and Means Committee, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act drove wages higher, grew business investment by 20% and boosted GDP by a full percent. This could lead to trillions of dollars in additional growth over a decade. All we need now is for the Senate to get on board, and then the big, beautiful bill will become law. Here's certainty number 2, tech liberation. Artificial intelligence will continue to gobble up ever more electricity this year. Here's why I'm so confident. Last November, NVIDIA Corporation released its Blackwell chip, an AI platform that's 3 times to 4 times faster than its predecessor. It's also a power hog, with each B200 GPU unit consuming 1,200 watts. That's roughly what a household toaster needs, and its predecessor used only 700 watts. However, this 70% increase in power consumption doesn't translate to a 70% more electricity demand overnight. Blackwell chips can only be produced so quickly, and even the top cloud computing firms like Oracle and Microsoft have been forced to wait in line for supply. During its first quarter earnings call, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella noted that profits at his firm would have been even higher if only they had the hardware. That will change through mid-2026 as more Blackwell chips roll off the assembly line. Older generations of NVIDIA's Hopper chips will be replaced by those power-hungry Blackwell ones, and additional sites will be built to house all new sets. More of these chips means more power will be consumed, straining an already tight U.S. energy grid further. In addition, AI developers show no sign of lifting off the gas pedal. Last month, OpenAI launched its latest GPT 4.1 model, an AI that's roughly 20% better at coding than its predecessor GPT 4.0. The firm followed up this month with a new AI coding agent, Codex, a powerful tool that can write code, fix bugs, run tests, and answer questions. Not to be outdone, Alphabet unveiled a suite of AI-powered products at its I/O Developer Conference last Tuesday, May 20th. This included a new series of AI models, AI-generated movies, next-generation smart glasses, and AI-powered wearable devices. Perhaps most importantly, Alphabet revealed a new AI model codenamed DeepThink that is more than twice as accurate as OpenAI's best models at certain tasks. This AI arms race will continue driving up demand for power-intensive Blackwell chips. No AI company can afford to get left behind, and so we expect power generation firms will continue to see strong demand. Now, certainty number 3 is energy liberation. On President Trump's first day in office, he signed 3 new energy executive orders that would unleash America's affordable and reliable energy and natural resources. First was Executive Order 14154, which was Unleashing American Energy. This order boosts energy independence and economic growth. It prioritizes expanding energy production on federal lands and offshore, increasing domestic mining of critical minerals, and ending the electric vehicle mandate to promote consumer choice. It also demands a review of regulations that hinder energy development. Executive Order 14156 is declaring a national energy emergency. Now, this order declares a national energy emergency and directs federal agencies to use emergency powers to increase energy development. This includes identifying and utilizing domestic energy resources, streamlining leases and permitting processes, and expanding energy infrastructure. The goal is to make the U.S. more energy independent. Now, Executive Order 14153 was Unleashing Alaska's Extraordinary Resource Potential. This order is to expand resource development in Alaska. It focuses on boosting energy production, streamlining permits, and advancing infrastructure like pipelines and liquefied natural gas exports. It also restores oil and gas leasing in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge and directs agencies to remove regulations that hinder the development. These three initiatives I believe may have the largest long-term impact on this country's wealth and prosperity. The reality is we're sitting on over $100 trillion worth of energy and natural resources right here in America. That's almost 4 times larger than our annual GDP and 3 times larger than our national debt. That means we can wipe out the national debt 3 times over just by tapping into the assets we have buried in our own backyard. This would be a game changer for our economy. The reason why I believe tax liberation, tech liberation, and energy liberation are certainties is because they fall under President Trump's 3-part economic plan, and I'd like to call that Liberation Day 2.0. Investors looking for a place to buy may want to investigate the president's latest liberation. He signed a series of executive orders with the goal of reestablishing the United States as the global leader in nuclear energy. The orders slash regulations with the aim to increase American nuclear energy capacity from 100 gigawatts to 400 gigawatts by 2050 and to have 10 new large reactors with complete designs under construction by 2030. Nuclear stocks jumped on the news, but they still have plenty of room to run as AI's need for power continues to soar. One of my favorite nuclear stocks at the moment is Vistra Corp. This Irving, Texas-based company is one of the biggest power generators in the United States, with about 37,000 megawatts of power generated from natural gas, nuclear, solar, and battery storage facilities. The company offers reliable and efficient power solutions to approximately 4 million customers, residential, commercial, and industrial, in 20 states and Washington, D.C. And in March 2024, Vistra completed a $3.4 billion deal to acquire Energy Harbor, making it the second largest American nuclear power provider. I believe investors curious about nuclear energy liberation should take a closer look at Vistra, VST. So let's recap. Tax liberation is coming, with permanent middle-class tax cuts and new savings incentives that could unlock consumer spending power. Tech liberation is accelerating as AI's infrastructure needs drive power-hungry chip adoption and a wave of next-generation software. Energy liberation is the final piece. The president's executive orders designed to unleash American resources and reestablish the U.S. as the global leader in nuclear energy. And it all ties together in what I'm calling Liberation Day 2.0, a policy-driven, tech-powered, resource-fueled growth engine that could reshape America's economy and open up new avenues for investors. If you haven't yet, make sure to download your free copy of Tariffs and Your Retirement. It's packed with insights to help you understand these macro shifts. And if you want to make sure your retirement plan is aligned to capture this next wave of opportunity, schedule your lifestyle and legacy assessment and let's put a plan in place. Thanks for joining me. Stay informed, stay strategic, and remember, the future is being built right now, and the path to prosperity has never been clearer. See you next week, and again, thanks for joining me today.